The world screamed murder when a Swiss forensic team supposedly found high levels of polonium-210 in the body of the late Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. But now the world isn't so sure. A total of 60 samples of Arafat's body were sent to 3 forensic teams, them being Swiss, French and Russian. And while the Swiss report seems to suggest poisoning, the French and now Russian reports show no foul play. A conclusion that Dr. Rudy Roth in Belgium also came to, but released his report before the French and Russians did. I asked him why he questioned the Swiss findings to begin with.
Well, I was quite impressed by the difference I heard from the Swiss, who said moderately supporting poisoning, and then Al Jazeera explaining 83% poisoned, probability of poison. Said something is wrong. So I went into more details. I tried to call Switzerland to find out who was there at the famous press conference. And finally, I found a colleague from Le Matin who was present. And I had one question. Were there any technical, scientific questions asked? He said, not really. I say, oh, there's something wrong there.
So if not polonium-210, then what did he die of?
Probably of a natural death.
With the Russians now saying that Arafat died of natural causes, any possible notion of assassination is diminishing quickly. The Swiss team, however, still stand by their polonium findings.
We cannot make the conclusion that this polonium came from his body, but it's a possibility that would be worth analyzing. But we cannot conclude with our measurements that he was poisoned by polonium. What we can conclude is that there is a greater chance following our measurements that there was a contamination of polonium. But we cannot make any further conclusions from our measurements.
The devil may be in the detail, but with François Bouchaud's insistence that his Swiss team never declared Arafat as assassinated, the question remains why the world screamed murder in the first place. I asked media specialist Alexander Zanzer why the press was so keen to jump on the assassination bandwagon.
Because people want to believe. They want to believe that he, as a symbol of the independence or a symbol of the Palestinians, couldn't die like that, that he was murdered by Israel or by somebody else.
So this is just an example of how media can be flawed?
Well, media can be flawed very easily because the media wants to believe. The public wants to believe, but the media even more than the public wants to believe any kind of stories which are about murder, secret services, conspiracies, because it's nice to tell about and it attracts attention.
The new report, which contradicts the alleged poisoning of Yasser Arafat, will definitely cause some blushes within the forensic and media world. But if there's one thing we can learn from this mix-up, it's to remain critical in the face of sensationalization rather than just going for the sexy headlines. This is Bjarke Smith-Meyer for JN1 in Brussels.